Welcome to our second video log for Vinegar Syndrome treatment. Here is the final result after our Vinegar Syndrome treatment was made on this Captain Harlock cell. It took around a month to completely treat it. We had to treat each layer individually. By doing so, we were able to reset its phase level to phase 1 of the Vinegar Syndrome. The vinegar smell is completely gone, and the molecular integrity of the layers are back to normal. So let's talk about what happened since our first video. We had some surprises when we checked the actual phase value of each layer in our lab. We thought originally, in our previous video, that the layer that was the most contaminated by the Vinegar Syndrome was the first layer, due to its most advanced overall visual degradation. But actually, it was the second layer, the one with the overlay attached to it, that started all this mess. Its phase value was at 7, the highest value possible, even though its overall visual degradation was less important than the first layer. The first layer was at phase 6 and the background at phase 4.5. That's why we always check the phase value of each layer in our lab before starting any treatment. Indeed, the Vinegar Syndrome reaction can be tricky, and the vinegar smell or the visual degradation are good indicators, but can sometimes lead you on the wrong conclusions. But with our machine, as we can measure precisely the Vinegar Syndrome phase value, we are sure to know which layer has started the reaction, and by extension, how to treat the cell accordingly. Every cell is different, so our treatment is always tailor-made to match perfectly every cell needs. So due to the extreme phase value of this cell, the first thing that we have done had to be radical. With the permission of the owner of the cell, we decided to remove the second layer that was attached to the overlay and get rid of it completely. Due to its phase value of 7, the treatment cost was too high and was actually unnecessary. Indeed, this layer has no purpose other than keeping the overlay in place. So we detached the layer to this overlay and kept only the overlay. After that, we treated the first layer, the overlay, and the background separately. So here is the result for the first layer. We were able to get back the transparency of the layer to a very acceptable level. It is not brand new, of course, but it's still way better than before. This is not always the case, and for some cells, especially the one that gets yellowing, it is way harder. You can see that almost all white crystal deposits are gone, and here you can see that this layer looks much better than before the treatment. On the first video, we could see that the overlay had imprinted its shape to this layer, and now it is gone. Next, let's see the overlay. So, as I said before, we detached the overlay from the second layer and we treated it alone. It is now in very good shape. But let's talk about the overlay and the background for a second. Everything that is made of paper is way harder to treat than classic acetate layers, because the acid acetic get captured inside the paper fibers and make it harder for our treatment machine to access and remove it. So the treatment had to be done multiple times until we were sure that all of it was removed. Now about the undulation waves. Unfortunately here, the cell deterioration was too advanced for our treatment to successfully reduce them. But there's still hope for this cell, and if, for example, we frame it, the undulation waves will almost disappear, and the overall visual will be greatly improved. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us on our website.